Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Christian Hanna Horror here today, coming at you with a review at 7 something in the morning because I'm on graveyards for The Stepfather 2. I'm finally following through with something. I always get sporadic and just change plans at a whim. But I was like, you know what? I really want to review The Stepfather 2 because I just did The Stepfather and I love that movie. So I was so eager to jump into Stepfather 2. Now, you're looking at this DVD and you're saying, Christian, you never buy DVDs. What's going on with that? That's because, as far as I know in America, the only way to get this movie is this Synapse DVD, and it was cheap. It was $10 on Amazon, so trust me, you're going to want to pick up this DVD from Synapse, the good people at Synapse, of The Stepfather 2. But let's get into this movie real quick. Okay, so Stepfather 2 sees Jerry Blake in a mental ward. In the beginning of the movie, he's been captured. You'd have thought he would have died at the end of 1, but he didn't. I sure thought he was dead, but he somehow survived, and he's in a mental ward. You've got this doctor who has all the best intentions. He's going to be the doctor to set some of these guys straight with troubled past. He's going to be the doctor to bring somebody into fruition of becoming back into a normal society, a normal mental health. Well, he has never met Jerry Blake. I don't want to say the word stupidly, but he mistakenly tries to tell one of the guards, take off the cuffs of Jerry. We're just going to have a conversation. That becomes the biggest mistake of this doctor's life. Jerry escapes from the mental ward, and he is back to his old tricks, his cunning, maniacal tricks. He's just too smart for these good-hearted doctors and good-hearted people at this hospital. Outsmarts them, escapes it. A pretty darn good opening sequence, I might add. Seeing Jerry Blake, almost look vulnerable, yet be in the moments where they were like, take his cuffs off. I was so nervous because I was like, you don't get it. You don't understand, doctor. This guy is nuts. And great stuff. So we see Jerry escape prison. Jerry is going to start the next chapter of what his addiction is, finding his next family to become a part of. It's weird. It's like he yearns to be this family man that does the right things, but as soon as the cracks start to happen in the foundation of this new life he has, that's when he goes on the killing rampage, and he's up to his old tricks in Stepfather 2. But one thing I want to say right off the bat about Stepfather 2 that is so awesome is the cast. As a horror movie fan, the cast of Stepfather 2 I loved way more than the first because it had names I recognize. Terry O'Quinn is, of course, back as the stepfather. We then have Meg Foster, who is the love interest that he has in this movie. Meg Foster's eyes are just something amazing, and she's gorgeous in this movie, of course. Meg Foster is great as the love interest of Jerry Blake, or Terry O'Quinn, the actor. And of course, her best friend, Carolyn Williams, is in this movie, and she was my favorite character of the movie. And last but certainly not least, we have the great Jonathan Brandis, rest in peace to you, good sir, as the son of Meg Foster's character. So after Terry gets some money, and you'll see how in the movie, he goes to this small town and finds a real estate agent that's going to rent him this house, and it's Meg Foster's character. Of course, Jerry Blake woos her over and starts to weasel into her life and intermingle with her and become the love interest of her. And again, things seem to be normal. Jerry Blake is continuing his normalcy life that he wants to have so bad. But Carolyn Williams, the best friend of Meg Foster, is suspicious right from the get-go. And she'll be the one that kind of starts to break down the cracks in the foundation of Jerry Blake's new character and his new persona in the movie. I'll hold it off from there. I want to say this about The Stepfather 2. It is a crying shame that when I was doing some research into this movie, it got a limited theatrical release. It didn't get distributed widely, and what a crock. Because I think Stepfather 2 is a really good sequel. For horror fans, I think you can enjoy it even a little bit more than the first in some aspects because of the cast. Terry O'Quinn, of course, is back. Meg Foster is in this movie. Carolyn Williams is in this movie. Jonathan Brandis is in this movie. Talk about a great cast. Now, what I think this movie does so well is it really just hammers on to the things that worked well in the beginning. You know, Terry O'Quinn being sinister but cunning and smooth and knowing how to work his way into these people's lives while having great characters surrounding him. You had a great mom and daughter in the first one, and in part 2, Meg Foster and her son Jonathan Brandis were just as good, I thought. They had a great camaraderie between the two. Meg Foster's the single mom doing her best to raise her son, and Terry O'Quinn's trying to become the super dad of this family that can make Jonathan Brandis love him while making him equally hate his real dad, who they dive into that more into the movie. Carolyn Williams, I think, is just great in this movie. Again, she's the best friend who's always suspicious. She's the one looking at Terry O'Quinn saying, I don't know about this guy. Something doesn't seem right. Great characters in this movie. I just loved it so much. Now, on In Search of Darkness, Carolyn Williams kind of talked about how this movie played more on the black comedy. And I agree with that, but I still thought the temperament of Stepfather 2 was just like straight ahead psychological scary. So I certainly felt that way watching Stepfather 2. But again, what a great sequel. While I don't think Stepfather 2 had like that magnitude that the first movie had, I think Stepfather 2 is a great example of how to do a sequel well and make it good. And Jeff Burr, who did Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, directed this movie. And Jeff Burr's a great director, you know. He got really screwed over back in his day with Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 getting cut to shreds by Bob Shea and getting his vision basically trampled on when trying to make that film. I don't know too much about what he went through with Stepfather 2, but it seemed like he, again, just knocked it out of the park and made a really good film. Stepfather 2 was a fantastic sequel, and it had some really great kills in it. So when it comes to this DVD, again, this is a Synapse DVD. I think this is basically the only way you can get this film, and you know, it was a cheap DVD. Side note, I realized this after I filmed this, but there is a making of with Jeff Burr in it, and he talks about the making of this film. Great documentary. It looked good. I mean, it's a DVD. Of course, it's not going to have that 1080p shine, but this belongs in your collection. Stepfather 2, like I said, I thought was just a fantastic horror movie sequel to the great Stepfather, and I love it so much. There is a Stepfather 3, but I don't even think it's Terry Quinn. I think it's a different guy, and it's a different story. Maybe I'll check that out soon, but I'm really satisfied with venturing into Stepfather 1 and Stepfather 2. Great movies. Highly recommend the sequel, guys. That is the Synapse DVD of Stepfather 2. Huge recommend from me. I'll give this movie 6.9 out of 10. A great sequel. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you've seen Stepfather 2, if you haven't, let me know if this video entices you to. Again, this is Christian Hanna Horror. If you like this video, drop a like on it. Please sub to the channel if you're not already. Thank you for going through the motions with me of doing Stepfather and now Stepfather 2.